Hello, good people, and welcome back to Senior Cat Wellness. Have you ever watched your cat just sniff the air like they're solving some type of invisible mystery, something that you can't see? 1 second, everything is quite normal, and the next, your cat is staring into that void, the nose twitching, eyes wide, looking over at you like, did you smell that too? There you are, sitting in your living room thinking, I don't have a clue as to what you're talking about. Of course, if your cat starts talking to you, I think that's another video entirely, but it turns out that your cat definitely knows what they're talking about in terms of what they are smelling, that scent, because cats they live in a whole different universe when it comes to scent compared to the one that we reside in. What smells like nothing to us can be a novel, a big breaking news report, or even a territorial dispute for your cat in some cases, depending on what they're smelling. So in today's video, we're diving nose first into what cats can smell that humans just can't, while your pet's little sniffer is basically somewhat of their own personal superpower. We'll start with some of the standards, some of the basics. The average human has around 5 million scent receptors in their nose. It sounds like a lot until you realize the number your cat has, up to, let's call it 80 million. Yeah, that's more than 15 times as many as we do, that we have. And it gets a lot better. Cats also have something called the Jacobson's organ, which I've mentioned a few times here on the channel, in the history of the channel. It's tucked up at the roof of the mouth. It detects special chemical signals that most of us can't even begin to process. So yeah, cats are little scent-sensing machines, if you will. And here's what they actually do. And all this superpower, here's what it unlocks. First off, let's start off with pheromones. You know how your cat's always rubbing their face on everything, including you, the furniture, yeah, your legs, your work while you're busy working on your laptop. Your cat's banging their head right on the back of your laptop. Well, it's not just a hello. It's not just a sign of affection. They are scent marking you. That's pheromone power, if you will. When cats rub their cheeks on stuff, on all the stuff that you could ever think of, they're leaving behind those facial pheromones, kind of like a little postcard, a calling card, if you will. These pheromones are basically saying, I'm here, this property, this thing, this leg, this elbow, this shoulder, it's all mine. And if they're doing that on you, well, they're telling other animals and certainly other cats, hey, this person, they're in my inner circle, not yours. Other cats can certainly smell these little markings and messages, and they can pick up on who's been there and that rub, that scent. Well, what cat did that come from? Other cats can certainly know, especially if we're talking a household or even a neighborhood setting where cats cross each other's paths on a daily basis, perhaps an hourly basis. It's how cats figure out who's been around where, and how long ago they were there, and even perhaps what mood that cat was in when they made that marking. Us common folk, on the other hand, well, we don't pick any of that up at all. Everything smells fine to us. Now, a cat, on the other hand, they know who's been where and when and all of that good jazz. We are clueless in this regard. To your cat, a room, well, it's filled with different scent notes and warnings and perhaps updates on all of their little cat friends in the neighborhood. Now let's talk on a similar fashion about scent trails. Cats don't just live in the moment, they can actually track the paths through, you guessed it, smell. They can follow scent trails left behind by other animals or even themselves, hours or even sometimes days, many days later. And that's how your cat might randomly sniff the floor and suddenly bolt into a specific direction. They're following those invisible footprints. Cats don't need signs or directions. They navigate their world like detectives on the trail of a scent mystery. This is a big reason why felines have such a good sense of direction. Lost cats have been known to return home after being gone for many weeks just simply by following those familiar smells. Now imagine this, if you will. You're just chilling, right? You're relaxing at home and your cat suddenly looks up and locks eyes at the wall. Tail's twitching, those ears are back, cat completely focused on the wall. There's nothing there, right? It's just a wall. But your cat's nose, well, the cat's nose is saying otherwise. Cats can smell prey animals, mice, birds, and bugs, even when they are hiding out of sight. Their prey might have just walked through that area hours ago, but the scent lingers on. Fur, dander, even tiny scent markers left behind in urine trails. It tells your cat, something was here that I am certainly interested in, so where did it go? To us, you guessed it, it's just a blank wall. To your cat, well, something cool was here, like I said, and I've got to go find it. Next up, let's talk about something a little more on our level, perhaps, and that's food. Felines and food. Now, we all know that cats can be very picky eaters for sure, but here's the thing. They're not being overly dramatic. They're not trying to pull a funny one on you. Their noses are just doing a bit of, let's call it quality control. Cats can smell when food has gone bad, just slightly off, ever so slightly off, even if all is well on your side of the fence in terms of how the food looks and how the food smells. Cats can they can detect when something's a bit spoiled, perhaps little taste of bacteria involved in the food, and even the difference between the real meat and these fillers that are often packed in dry cat food. So that moment when your cat sniffs the food gives you that look, even though they're hungry, and just walks away like you just offered them a big pile of trash. They're not being a cat, the stereotypical standoffish nose in the air cat, no pun intended with the nose in the air. They're being quite smart, actually, and they are survival driven. As I've said many times, cats are predator and prey, so they're not going to eat something that they find a bit off-putting and foul. It's like having a little built-in food critic in your kitchen who refuses to eat anything that doesn't get the grand seal of their nose approval. Now let's talk about something a bit serious. Now, of course, we're talking about cleaning products, those chemicals. We love fresh citrus smells and scents. Something smells a bit funky, we spray, and then the flowers come out of this can, and we're all is right with the world. Well, to the cat, that's not the world they're living in for sure. In fact, many cleaning products like air fresheners and even some essential oils smell very toxic to them. What smells great to us could be their version of garbage. Cats can detect chemical compounds that we don't pick up on at all. So while you're thinking, wow, this is fresh lemons, your cat's thinking, why does this floor smell terrible? Even things like brand new furniture, fresh paint, or your favorite perfume or cologne can make your cat back away like they're smelling something really nasty. Basically, your cat's nose has turned into a whole chemical world that we're just completely nose blind to. And here's a good one. You smell different. You personally, could smell very different each and every day to your cat, even though you're in your eyes and in your nose, you're repeating the same day. Each of us, we all have a unique scent profile, sort of like our DNA, a fingerprint. It's a mix of oils and sweat and soap and perfumes and detergent and all the good, perhaps mixed in with a dash of the bad. Our food consumption, what we've eaten at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and who we've been in contact with, a handshake or a hug during the course of our day. Your cat can tell when you've had a bit of a stressful day, or you've changed your lotion or your shampoo, or like I said, you've shaken hands or hugged another person during the course of the day. You've hugged someone they've never met before. That's the key. Have you personally ever had your cat sniff your hand and do so for a long time when you get home? That's them conducting a bit of a test to see where you've been and potentially who you've been around. And finally, let's not forget, we see it all the time, especially if you have a multi-cat household. You probably sat on your sofa and watched this take place, how cats smell each other. When two cats meet, the first thing they'll do, we all know, little nose to nose or little nose to the backside, let's call it, right? The visuals can be quite questionable, but this is for a very important reason. To the cats, these sniffs tell the whole story about the other cat. They can figure out the other cat's age, the sex of the other cat, social status, where they've been, and how long since they've had food consumption, and probably what it was. They can even tell if that cat's a bit dominant, or is this the alpha cat, or is this the shy and timid cat? Is this cat friendly, a little anxious and nervous? Are they friend or foe? They can detect all of this within a matter of seconds from just a few sniffs. Now, while we're trying to figure out who someone is by their tone, their facial expression, perhaps their handshake, cats just go straight for the source. One sniff, and they've got the full report for sure. So, when your cat sniffs another cat, or even a spot where another cat has been, it's basically like they're reading that cat's history, at least the history for that day. And here's the kicker. Felines don't just smell things, they remember them. And that's, I think, in the big picture, that is the story. They take good notes in the immediate and remember them in the aftermath. The world is just a giant smell, essentially waiting to be picked up by your cat, any cat for that matter. Each spot in your house, every little nook and cranny has a very unique smell, and your cat has it stored away in their memory bank, and they know what's considered the normal, and they certainly know when something is off and something has changed. When you personally rearrange your furniture, clean a room to your liking, you might not think much of it other than, hey, I've cleaned out this room that has needed cleaning for a while. But to your cat, you've undone what they recognize so much. By cleaning it up, you've changed the scent. That's why some cats get all freaked out after that spring cleaning spree. It's like you've moved everything around, and they have to, from a nose perspective, they have to start all over. In the big picture, what does it all mean? Basically, cats live in their own world of scent that we have no idea about in terms of relatability. We see things, right? We pay attention to the smallest details with our eyes. But to cats, their noses, they pick up the story. The chemical messages, these trails left behind, their entire world and social status even can rest on what they've picked up with that nose. It's very interesting compared to the world we live in. So the next time you see your cat just sniffing the air and staring at the wall and walking off like they've just uncovered some grand mystery, well, chances are they probably did something that's very important to them. And they're not telling you what it was because, quite honestly, if it's like most situations, you wouldn't be able to smell it anyway. And that's what makes cats so very special compared to us and our world. And to the wonderful audience of Senior Cat Wellness, what are your sniffing thoughts on this topic? Do you often find your cat somewhat deep in sniff compared to, say, deep in thought, deep in sniff? Almost like they're lost in la la land, just sniffing away at something that you can't perceive in the slightest. Your personal stories, your commentary on this subject, as always, that comment section, it's all yours. And if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, we will talk to you later.